Can American women save the Democratic Party? That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. It is clear the majority of Americans are not happy with President Obama's job performance, and that is having a deleterious effect on the entire Democratic Party. It is widely anticipated Republicans will win both houses of Congress in November, marooning Mr. Obama in the White House. In fact, the only thing that can save the Democratic Party at this point is women voters, who broke big for the president in 2012. 55% of women voted for Obama, 44% Romney. Men went 52% Romney, 45% Obama. Enter the First Lady, Michelle Obama. In a speech at the UN this week, she said this:
"We must look inside ourselves and ask, do we truly value women as equals, or do we see them as merely second-class citizens? We must look around at our societies and ask, are we clinging to laws and traditions that serve only to oppress and exclude, or are we working to become more equal, more free? These are the very questions we are asking ourselves every day here in the United States."
Now, those words imply that America is not fair to women, and that is a highly charged statement. So let's look at the facts. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, on average, women make 81% of what men make in the private marketplace. However, American women are better educated than men. About 58% have college degrees, as opposed to 43% for men. But what the stats cannot define is the emotional difference between men and women. Right now, there are approximately 5 million stay-at-home moms raising their kids full-time. But millions of other American women work part-time, devoting most of their efforts to looking out for their kids. That's a huge factor in the economic comparisons of men and women, enormous. But it is often underplayed. So the First Lady should well understand the invalid comparisons that are being made in the gender economic discussion. It is true that only 15% of women hold top executive positions in the Fortune 500 companies. And it is also true that an old boy network makes it tougher for the ladies to gain establishment power. That does not seem to be fair. But life is not fair. I, your humble correspondent, have been scorned by the establishment during my career. Most corporate workers have, especially if they think independently, if they're not lackeys. No government, hear me on this, no government will be able to impose so-called fairness. Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party will try to convince voters that the fix is in against American women. That theme will be front and center in the upcoming presidential campaign. But to me, that's not a major issue. I do not believe there is a war on women. I do not believe our capitalistic system is holding the ladies back. I believe some stupid men are, but that's something individual companies have to deal with. Finally, we've all seen what has happened in the past 6 years, that President Obama has tried and tried and tried to impose social justice in America. The progressive vision of enforced equality leads to gross injustice and economic stagnation. Many companies now fear women. They are afraid of lawsuits, controversy, negative branding. And believe me, that's a big reason some women are held back. Children being the other big reason. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight reaction. Join us in Boston, Marianne Marsh, Democrat and very successful businesswoman. And from Austin, Texas, Marjorie Clifton, also a Democrat. So Marjorie, did I state anything in the Talking Points memo that is not true?
You made a lot of very important points, but I think what's missing from the conversation, and we can talk about the policy piece as well, is that are the choices actually real? So yes, women do have a lot of opportunities, but what that data doesn't reflect is once women get into the workforce, once they get that education, and the big question is, what do we value in our country? Do we value women as mothers in the same way we value men as fathers? So as a woman, if I want to be a working mom and contribute equally in the household in the same way my husband would want to be a working father contributing in the household, are the choices I'm seeing as a woman different? And absolutely they are. There are still gaps in payment. So 76 cents to the dollar is a statistics that talks about a lot. A lot of that has to do with women's ability to negotiate, but a lot of that has to do with bias in the workplace. And what has happened is there have been a lot of policies recently, like the Paycheck Fairness Act, Violence Against Women Act, that do provide cover and protections under the law that they do not necessarily get in a business setting. And
Look,
I think that is the important policy.
I don't oppose anything that is fairly drawn upon to make not just women, but minorities and everybody else have equal opportunity than white men. But by doing this, the unintended consequences are staggering. Now let's go to Marianne Marsh. Marianne Marsh and I attended the Kennedy School at Harvard together, and I must say to the world watching now that they like Marianne Marsh much better than they like me. All right? And she got a lot more opportunities in the cafeteria line and in all of the other places because she's much nicer than I was, and all the professors liked her. And if it was a choice between Marianne Marsh and Bill O'Reilly to get a B+, she was going to get it, and I was going to get the B. So, you have been very, very successful after you and I parted company at Harvard, and I didn't see any impediment to you holding you back. If I had, I would have helped you out. You know me. All right? So all of this to me is theoretical. It's theoretical. And I do believe that it's politically motivated, that the Democratic Party has only one shot, and that's to convince women they're getting jobbed, pardon the pun, to vote for them. Go.
Well, your argument at the top of the show, Bill, makes my argument, which the fact is women are the majority in this country, yet they make less money. They're the majority in this country, yet they're woefully underrepresented in the places that matter, government and business. We have not elected a woman president of the United States yet. That's shameful. 18.5% of Congress are women. That's shameful.
Well, they got more women have to run then.
CEOs
more women have to compete.
Well,
Nobody's saying you can't run. Nobody says you can't run, Marianne.
But you can't run and win unless you can be competitive by raising the money. And women have a tougher time raising the money, and they don't make the money to be able to subsidize their own campaigns like many men do.
81 cents on the dollar, and a lot of that is because the woman has the children at home. As I pointed out, the part-time women workers. I'm not buying any of this. I really, it's so blatant to me that women have even more of an advantage. Educated, articulate women have more of an advantage over white men now in the marketplace, I think, Marjorie.
And they still don't make money.
Look,
they still don't make the same money.
Right, and look, again, going back to false choices, we are one of 3 countries in the entire world that does not have guaranteed paid maternity leave. There is a biological fact, absolutely. Women have to birth the children.
What does that have to do with competing in the marketplace? You want guaranteed maternity leave for how long?
Because
most companies have that.
Well, but not all. And the other is,
well, what do you want? What do you want? What do you
policies.
want, Marjorie? What kind of guaranteed maternity leave do you want?
You want to guarantee you have a job when you return. You want to make sure that there are policies in place that allow you to keep
You can file lawsuits. If you're terminated for pregnancy, you can sue all day long. And that brings me to the last point. Marianne, there's fear in the marketplace now, particularly in the upper echelons of executive circles, that you're going to get sued, HR is going to get involved, it's just going to be this, it's going to be that, and it holds women back. And the lawsuits are legion in every single American corporation, legion. White guys can't sue. What do we sue for? All right? But minorities can sue, and women can sue, and they are. And there's a giant industry that exploits that. Last word, Marianne.
If that were true, at some point in our country's lifetime, women would have been on equal footing with men when it came to representation in government and business and on the pay scale. That has never been the case. So that's a false point. You may think that's true now, but over our history, it's proven that's not the case. There's a corrosive effect on women for making less money and taking time out of jobs in the workplace, and it hurts society, it hurts our country, it hurts democracy.
All right, Marjorie, real quick, go.
And I can speak from my own experience. I was coached to never say anything because it would be a badge on you that would get you never employed again. So,
well, they did the same thing to me, Marjorie. They did the same thing to me. Shut up, O'Reilly.
So behave yourself,
I mean, come on, they do it.
That's right.
They do it to everybody. Companies want conformity. And Marianne, don't give me any of this. Any lady wants to run for office, you'll help them out. Your firm up in Boston will help them. Come on. All right, ladies, very spirited debate.
They need the money to be on TV.
They need the money. Go out and raise the money. If it's a good candidate, I'll give them money. No, I don't give money to candidates.
I'm holding you to that.
I'll tell you who's rich. I'll say that guy.
You made the boys club comment, Bill. You pointed out
we know there's the boys club, and I don't like the boys club, but the government can't do anything about it. All right, I got to go.